Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second shelf and to my May book haul. It's the 20 something, 5th, I think, today, Sunday. And I bought some books, and can you guess how many? Yes, it's 7 again. So, took the book haul blouse out of the closet this morning to film my video. In no particular order. Oh, well, it is a particular order because I stacked the books for the thumbnail in according to size. So it's not alphabetical. In the description box below, the books are in alphabetical order. So yeah. Anyway, the first one is a book with a sticker, but we are not going to mention that. We're just going to put the finger here that I bought for my Reading Europe project for the country of Bulgaria. I'm not there yet. I'm still working on Azerbaijan and Belgium, so it's quite a long wait, or quite a bit of time until I will get to Bulgaria. But I saw this one. And I have a couple of books for Bulgaria, but this I certainly wanted to read. It's a memoir by, it's a glare here. So, Kapka Kasabova, Border, A Journey to the Edge of Europe, because I thought that was a really interesting topic, and so I was willing to buy the book despite the sticker. So, Kapka Kasabova, with the glare here, is from Bulgaria, and she is exploring the border, Turkey-Greece, going back to her country after a while. And it sounded really interesting. And as you know, for that project, Reading Europe, I try to either buy fiction or memoir, not so much a non-fiction book by somebody of this country or a non-fiction book about this country. And this qualifies still for me as a memoir, even though I might be stretching the definition a bit. But yeah, so this is for Bulgaria. And I think Bulgaria is slotted for the second half of the year. The next book I bought is for the other big project, the 1001 Women. And again, it's not to read right away, but I was looking for this particular edition, the Virago Modern Classic. So this is Muriel Spark, Memento Mori. Muriel Spark has 2 books in the... Yeah, I was trying to check when the book was published. Spark is with an S, 1959. So it's as old as I am. Looking good. A little bit older. But anyway, so Muriel Spark has 2 books on the 1001 Women. And I read one, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, which I loved. But it's, I think, not Muriel Spark's typical book, and this is supposed to be more of her typical work. So it's about a group of elderly people with the main character Dame Letty Colston, and she is the first in her circle to receive these anonymous calls, and the caller is saying, remember that you die, or you know that you die. Yeah, remember you must die. So you can see the telephone here. I'm always interested in books about with older protagonists, feels like I'm still in books. And I have no idea when I will get to this one. But like I said, I absolutely wanted the Virago Modern Classic edition. So when I found that, I picked it up. The next 4 books are books that I bought because I wanted to have them after I have read them, either borrowing the ebook from my library or reading it on script. What's it called? Everent. And the first one is a non-fiction book Rebecca Giggs, Fathoms the World in the Whale. I reread this book quite recently, I think a month ago, because it is on this year's list of the Book Naturalist Book Club, run by Heidi from My Reading Life and Doris from All the Books, where they encourage us to read books about nature. I'm sorry, I have allergies, so yeah, but I'm not gonna cut this out. You just have to roll with me here with the little frog in my in my throat. Anyway, so this year is their 5th anniversary, and they decided to pick books that we read over the past 5 years and have this whole year of a reread. And this was the pick for April, I think. So Rebecca Giggs is an Australian science writer, and this is her exploration of whales, and not only now, but also environmental issues, whaling, eating whale meat. Why are we so fascinated with these animals? And I loved it the first time around. I loved it when I reread it in April. And so I thought, when I saw this copy available, I finally have to have it on my bookshelf. The same goes for the next one, even though I want to reread this at some point, maybe even this year, and that is Marguerite Yourcenar, Memoirs of Hadrian, translated from the French by Grace Frick in collaboration with the author. Marguerite Yourcenar obviously was a French author, and this is one of my favorite books by her, the fictionalized memoirs of the Emperor Hadrian. I think it's brilliant. I read it in German because it was on my mother has the book in German, so I read it when I was a teenager. And I always wanted to reread it, and now I thought I'm going to buy an English copy because I really liked this Modern Classic, Penguin Modern Classic edition. And I also like to read different translations of the same book. I have to say I tried to read it in French. There's the frog again. But it was just too difficult for me. My French is not up to par anymore. I'm just not practicing enough. So I decided I'm going to take the English translation this time. And I always, like I said, I always wanted to reread it. I have to say, I'm not really enamored with the font. It's small and dense. I never really like that. But yeah, I can read it as an ebook or, and have this nice copy on my bookshelf. Why am I telling you all this? No idea. And then the next one is also fiction, a book that I read recently. I borrowed it from my library in the German translation, and then again I bought the English translation to reread it at some point, and that is Salvage Bay on the calculation of volume number 1. This is the first book, again with the sticker. But I think I said that when I reviewed the book, that this is at least somewhat subtle, not like hitting you in the face with the bloody stickers. But anyway, this book was translated from the Danish by Barbara Haveland, or Haveland, I don't know. And it was shortlisted for the Booker Prize. It didn't win. But I read it recently, and I really, really liked it. It's a 7-book series. That's what the author says. I think in Denmark, 5 books have been published. In the English translation. The second book has already been published, and in the German translation, 3 books have been published. So I borrowed the second one from my German ebook library, and I want to reread this one at some point. It's basically the same premise as in the movie Groundhog Day. So a woman repeats the same day over and over again. And in this case, it's the 18th of November. But as I said in my review, I was trepidatious because I liked the movie Groundhog Day. It's funny. But I didn't want to read a book about the repetitious. I thought it would be boring. But the way the author deals with this subject, I think, is really interesting. I don't know whether I will read all 7 books in this series, because I think she tries to explore various aspects of this stuckness in one day. And in this first book, the woman is in the house where she normally lives with her husband. But on the 18th of November, she was traveling, so she can't live this day with her husband. But then she tries to do it anyway and find different ways of living with her husband, which is kind of difficult. And the next book, I think, explores that she's trying to at least do something with her life with that one day, and she's traveling. But yeah, I really like this exploration of time and the way we experience time and the world. So after I finished it, I thought I want to buy it in English to read a different translation when I reread it. And the last book of the books that I have already read is a sci-fi book that I read quite some time ago, and that is Lidia Yuknavitch, The Book of Joan. And I also bought this because I found a very reasonably priced secondhand edition that looks fabulous. Because I can't really remember enough of the book, but I know that I enjoyed it. I know that I liked the atmosphere of it. So it's kind of a dystopian. There's a picture of our author, by the way. It's kind of a dystopian tale, and it has something to do with the story of Joan of Arc. But this one is, so people don't live on Earth anymore. They live on these kind of space shuttle ships hanging around Earth, and they have evolved into these completely sexless, hairless beings. And then, of course, something happens, and there is a conflict. And like I said, I remember that that I really liked the atmosphere and the story, but I just couldn't remember the plot anymore. And I think I read it, it was published 2017, and I read it not that long after, so it has been a while. It's certainly 5 years or something. But yeah, that's another reason to reread for me, because I often realize that I'm just not retaining enough. I don't know whether you have the same issue, but I certainly do. And the last one is the next book in the Linley series. And again, I think I talked about these various, I always buy them from the same internet secondhand bookstore, and I only see the cover, and I never check the size. So this time I again have the huge hardcover edition, which is bigger than my head, and I do not have a small head, I can tell you. But this is number 18, Just One Evil Act. And like I said earlier, if you follow my channel, you know this. I'm reading this series together with Heidi from my reading life, and we just in May finished number 17, which ends with a cliffhanger. And we both had this, we want to read the next book, but we will take a little pause because we did it once that we read 2 books back to back, and it just didn't work that well. It's good for this type of series to have a little break in between. So we scheduled this book for July to keep up with our, the plan is to read 1 book every other month in order to finish the series by next March. So this will be number 18, and it will hopefully pick up where the cliffhanger in book number 17 left us. So this is my book haul for the month of, I'm just throwing everything down. So this is my book haul for the month of May. 1, 2, 3 books that I want to read. Couple of them for a project, the first 2, then the next 4 because I want to have them on my shelf and maybe reread, and the huge hardcover edition of the next Lindley. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this haul. Let me know whether you read any of the books or leave any other comment. Always looking forward to your comments, as you know. And I'll see you all soon in the next one, next Sunday.